Are you sitting comfortably? Then we'll begin.
Hey folks, welcome to Weekend Update here, where we sift through the news, try to bring you what you might have heard, what you need to know, and stuff that's just interesting as well. We got Duncan, we got Commander McMillan in, and I'm going to roll a dice to see who goes first here, and it's 15, so that's the last dice. Commander, you're up first.
Sorry, what the rules again?
Well, the rules are made up on the spot, and the points don't matter.
Okay.
That's right. Okay, so let's go to Madagascar. Dun, dun, dun.
I have a thing for that. Hold on.
So.
Oh, right.
No,
okay.
no,
Yeah. Sorry.
Ecuador.
We'll reset that. Flashy. Nobody heard me. Okay, go ahead.
That's right. So Madagascar's military took control of the government in October of this year. Following a month of deadly protests calling for the removal of President Andre, I'll get this wrong, I'm sure, Rajoelina, who has since fled the country. Since they took power, the military has suspended the Constitution and all major government institutions, including the High Court, the Senate, and the Electoral Commission, have been dissolved. The National Assembly, the lower house of Parliament, was dissolved by Rajoelina prior to his flight into exile. So ain't nothing working nowhere. Now, to put this in perspective, some 80% of Madagascar's 31 million people live in extreme poverty, with only about a third having any access to electricity.
Oh.
The protests, which began in September, initially focused on the government's inability to provide reliable electrical, sanitation, and water services to the people, mostly in the two big cities. That subsequently expanded to include a wide range of other grievances. The protesters, mainly young people, drew inspiration from the wave of similar Gen Z demonstrations, which have erupted across the earlier part of this year, specifically in Bangladesh, Kenya, Morocco, Nepal, so forth. Anyway, the frustration by these young people is in large part due to the nation's demographic makeup. It's dramatically shifted in recent years. Many of these countries have, for example, like most African nations, have a median age of just 19. Think about
Wow.
that. The average person is just 19. But workplace and civil service positions are typically occupied by people who are more than a full generation older than that group. So you've got an entrenched older generation holding down all the good paying jobs and keeping the young people out. Predictably, they're the
Yeah.
best.
How old are they? Like 26 or something?
No, probably mid 30s.
I was going to say, that's a short generation. Wow.
Yeah. Anyway, so by way of background, there are more than 200 registered political parties in Madagascar.
Whoa.
Yeah, very vibrant, one would say. While observers deemed the 2019 election, which returned incumbent Rajoelina to power, to be free and fair, Rajoelina's TGV, I won't even attempt to say the Madagascar language words that involve that, but it translates to Young Malagasy's Determined Movement. His party won 84 out of the 150 seats in the National Assembly. And that was achieved with the next 10 larger parties all boycotting the election. So he barely managed to squeak out 50% plus majority.
What a mess. Yeah.
Coup or popular uprising. It's become almost pro forma that when a leader departs, he goes into exile, typically in France, because ex-French colony, and he absconds with large sums from some government ministry or the treasury or what have you, which he feathers his nest with while in exile.
Yeah.
So Rajoelina currently remains in hiding in an undisclosed, presumably foreign, most likely France, safe location. He has condemned both the army takeover and the subsequent call for his impeachment by the political parties being unconstitutional. Meanwhile, the local media have reported that Colonel Michael Rondaver, I can't, this is really an unpronounceable name. I'm sorry.
Somebody from Wales then, right?
He's the head of the army. Anyway, he was confirmed by the High Court. And remember, I said the High Court had been dissolved, yet he was confirmed by the High Court. Does that sound somewhat suspicious? Well, moving right along. Anyway, he has now been confirmed as the new leader of Madagascar. And so Sub-Saharan Africa continues its long tradition of not having good government for anyone. But I thought this went pretty nicely hand in glove with my report 2 weeks ago on Tanzania.
Yeah.
It shows a pattern of what living in Sub-Saharan Africa is like. It sucks. And it offers all the possibility for, massive repressive crackdowns and large numbers of civilian casualties who are unhappy at the way the government's running things. So stay tuned for more sun, fun, and excitement from Down Africa Way.
I mean, just when you said 200 political parties, I'm thinking, how can anybody ever get anything done, consensus, compromise. I mean, it's just with 200 parties to vote for, how could you ever have enough of the population actually vote for one candidate?
Well, I
Do they
think
do
what
it?
it is in many cases you'll have a specific town or village or province or something, and there'll be 2 or 3 parties that only exist within that one location.
Oh, so Quebec, Canada. I understand now. Yeah.
Right. So national parties that have, sufficient standing to run a candidate for a national office and have some expectation of at least getting representation in the National Assembly, yeah, they're probably, 10, 15 of those type of parties.
Yeah.
And then the others are, Bob and I are forming a political party to represent the interests of our goat in this field.
Yeah. The Free Marijuana for All Party.
Exactly.
Yeah. The Spaghetti Monster Party,
Yeah.
The Rhinoceros Party,
The population of Madagascar, 31 million.
Wow.
Yeah, somebody asked the question here.
So I mean,
I'm assuming these areas of Africa with just high poverty levels. I'm assuming there's nothing there. There's no oil. There's no minerals. There's nothing for them to sell. Or is it just being grabbed by somebody else? And
well, remember that Madagascar is an island off the east coast or southeast coast of Africa.
yeah, I've seen the movie.
So it's very insulated to itself. It doesn't have a lot of connection with the politics in other countries over there. And it got its independence comparatively late, 1960. And as
oh, helpful. Hold on, Commander. Hold on. We're your connection in through is really screwing up tonight. It's driving me nuts because we just lost your audio again for a second there. You're back now. So
okay. Anyway, it does have a huge amount of resources. It does have some. The island does not have a well-developed transportation network. It's actually, in some cases, easier and faster to get from the northern end of the island where one big city is to the southern end of the island where the other big city is by boat rather than trying to do it over land, because there isn't a direct connection and there are a lot of swamps along the coastline.
Yeah, the 3 idiots from Top Gear, the Grand Tour, Clarkson and Co. did Madagascar, and it was just insanity.
Oh yeah, it's a mess.
Yeah.
And the interior is mountainous desert, so you either wade through the mud or you die of thirst. One of your choices here.
Yeah, you're not really selling it to the tourist board.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, I think tourism there is stay near your hotel and at the side of the beach and stuff. I don't recommend the roads between towns.
Yeah, and I think that's the key, is that the urban centers have some amount of development, and I've seen some pictures of the town and you kind of look at it and go, looks like most other sub-Saharan African major cities or whatever. Yeah, but get too far outside of the city and there ain't nothing.
Yeah.
And it's not like there are little villages dotting the coast down there. It's largely uninhabited.
Yeah. Yeah, because wildlife-y people and stuff still love Madagascar, right?
Oh yeah. Because it's both largely undeveloped, and because it's an island, it's from a biodiversity standpoint, it's kind of unique because you have a lot of different species that you don't find anywhere else except on the island.
Yeah, it's got a bit of a Galapagos thing going on, except there is people, right?
Yeah.
Totally.
My recollection is it's the home of the dodo,
Yeah. Yeah.
or ex-dodo.
Yeah. Sadly. Must have been tasty.
Actually, somebody who said they were trying to clone the dodo, figure out a way to bring it back.
From what? Snakes? I mean, what do you, I thought you had to have the being to clone the being.
No, you don't. All you have to have is some DNA matter.
Oh, okay.
So you find, bones or some
They got
taxidermy thing in a museum.
there's a few
and you
around.
find some residual DNA, and
I guess
try to
they're not that long gone, so there would be DNA. Yeah. Yeah, I never thought of that. All right. Where do we go next here? Dunk, do you want to jump in?
Oh, where should we go to? Oh,
Well, we were just on an island, so how about no? Just go.
Well, okay. How about this one? There was a man who claimed the bulge in his pants was all him, but he's facing prison after they found parakeets stuffed in his pants. Yes, he was literally budgie smuggling in his budgie smugglers.
Budgie smuggling?
Yeah, well, the old expression, the Australians, that's what they call their underwear. Budgie smugglers.
I've never.
You didn't know that one?
Is that a pair of parakeets?
Or you're just pleased to see me.
Yeah.
I mean, he was, he insisted the suspicious bulge in his pants was simply, the handiwork of God. Jesse Angus Martinez was 35, was stopped at the Mexico-U.S. border by Customs and Border Protection agents and asked what the hard-to-miss bulge in his groin area was. He completely claimed and somewhat boasted that it was just his penis, and it's all me.
I'm like a horse, baby.
But after further inspection, I don't know how you get around to that conversation. But can we see your penis, please? It found that it wasn't just his manhood, but there was like 2 rare orange-fronted parakeets in small brown bags.
In his
pants. Yeah.
What if they get hungry?
What if they squawk?
Think of those poor traumatized birds.
Oh, you'll never guess how I got into the United States. is a story.
Me too.
Poor little buggers. But then he went on to claim that the birds were his pets, which he got from his uncle in Mexico, and was going to keep them in a shoebox in his van. Oh, lovely. It sounds a delightful environment for keep parakeets. He's being clobbered by the cops. He could be fined up to $250,000 and face a maximum of 20 years behind bars.
Wow.
See, John, this is what you're supposed to be doing with these illegals coming across the border. Stop the parakeets.
Yeah.
We don't want to feed the immigrants more birds, foreign birds, illegal birds.
The horrors of smuggled parakeets.
What the hell? How is that even a thing? Why go through all the trouble and hassle for 2 little, are they worth something? Like, what's going on here?
I guess so, yeah. I guess they're worth something.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But
you'd be glad to know the birds are now doing well, minus the trauma of being stuffed in their owner's underwear.
I never want to smell a Mexican ball sack again, is the thought in the bird's head.
Now these orange-fronted parakeets are listed as vulnerable on the red list of threatened species. I think being stuck down someone's underpants definitely makes them vulnerable. Oh dear.
Can you imagine if those birds actually become pets? If they get handed to somebody who likes to scratch their nuts a lot, they'll never take food from that person.
Uh,
Very funny. Very funny. So, I want to switch over here to the tech industry for a second because Microsoft has had a couple of troublesome weeks. They had an outage on 365 that made files unusable. Downtimes have been, flying around in their network stuff recently in a big way. NVIDIA came out and said that Patch Tuesday screwed up performance in some games, and NVIDIA had to rush out a quick fix to solve it. But Microsoft has acknowledged that it has issues. And if completely on cue, in a new support article, they admitted there's problems on almost every major Windows 11 core feature. I shit you not. This really is happening right now. There's an XAML issue, and this impacts all the shell components like Start Menu, Taskbar, Explorer, Windows settings, on and on and on. They only acknowledged the issue on November 2025 this year, but it's actually been a problem since July. And they're really scrambling in the background like it's total red alert to try to get things on track. And what this shows you is ever since Windows 11 has been released, their focus has been on tracking and collecting as much data from you as possible. They don't even give a rat's ass if the operating system works at this point. And there was just some announcement by them, not announcement, but insider sort of presentation that came out where they're ramping up the efforts to make the OS even worse for this kind of stuff. Now, there's an interesting side thing here, if I can find where it is. Sorry here, everybody. Yeah, Zorin, it's a company who does a Linux distro that's very, very reminiscent of Windows. And in the last 30 days, well, for October, they had 1 million downloads of the operating system. Now, that in and of itself isn't that huge, although it's a pretty big number for a Linux distro. But the data on the downloads, 780,000 of those downloads came from a Windows 10 operating system. These are people that are getting ready to switch to Linux because Windows has screwed up Windows 11 so bad that more and more people are catching on to the fact that it's probably time to consider going somewhere else. And I think more and more people should be encouraged for this. If you're somebody like me who knows the tech well enough, you got somebody that's on a Windows 10 machine, they don't have $1,000 to upgrade to a new laptop or whatever the hell they're using. Get Zorin OS for them and install it for them. All they have to do is open the Chrome browser and 95% of their life will just simply work again. Most people live in the web browser these days. They won't notice. But it's really interesting to see as people are really coming out with horror stories about Windows 11 and how bad its stability is, its ability to get things done anymore, and its ruthless tracking. I mean, it's as bad or worse than a cell phone now. And people are finally getting fed up with it, especially when you see how powerful financially Microsoft is. How much do you have to squeeze people? So switch, people, switch. Talk to your local tech nerd, somebody like me or something. I don't look it, but you know what I mean? And get it done. You'll be so happy. Gaming on Linux is jumping in leaps and bounds. You won't even notice it. But yeah, I mean, as consumers, how much is enough? How much are we going to take of all of this crap? Samsung getting busted for listening to you on their TVs. You buy their fridge. A month later, it starts showing ads on the new touchscreen that's on it. Windows tracks everything you do and sells it to people. And it's too much. I'm loving the fact that people are pushing back.
I don't even like farting next to our Samsung washing machine because it might tell somebody.
Yeah, probably your neighbors. The Unforgiven in the chat says Mac sucks though. That you just can't say that. That's just a joke, right? I'm using a Mac, Commander's using a Mac, Dunk's using a Mac, and like our systems kick ass.
No.
Oh, okay.
No,
He's
I
on a
got a
PC
PC
now. Yeah, the Mac's somewhere else in the house, right? But it's
My wife used the Mac.
Well,
Laughs at me.
Commander, you're the only one that has connection issues, so there could be a thing there.
Correlation? I wonder.
Yeah, you know. But yeah, I mean, you know, you've got these people that are just anti-Mac and they're Windows people. But why? You've got people that are Mac users that would never touch anything else. Why? You know, that's like those people that are, I'm a Chevy person. Well, I'm a Ford person. Hello, they both suck. So, you know.
No, for a long time, I did have a Mac and used that. And I think I ended up changing because everything at work was PC. And so if I wanted to have anything that I could do across platforms at home and at work, I had to have it on a PC.
Yeah, and that happens to people for sure, but way less now than it used to. That's another thing. You know. But yeah, I mean, you know, if you got a personal preference, like, you know, people will say, oh, I don't like the OS. Well, every time Microsoft changes, it changes. Every time Mac changes, it changes. I can flip back and forth and I can go, oh, Apple sucks for this, but Windows sucks for that. I just don't even care. I just get what's a good value at the time. I've had PCs, I've had Macs, I flip back and forth. I don't care. You know?
Yeah, I mean, it's 2025. Be OS fluid.
but it's interesting to see, will Microsoft learn anything from this, or will they just keep doing it? You know. Yeah, I need to get a drink. We'll turn it to Commander for his next story, and I'll be 1 second.
Okay. Got to hit my sound bite.
Oh shit. Okay, I'll be real quick. Introduce, but go slow.
Oh, let's see. So,
all right.
I take you now to the sunny shores of Ecuador. Anyway, the exciting, fun-filled state of Ecuador, which is currently in the middle of what amounts to a state of civil war between the national government and a loose coalition of various crime syndicates. Yeah, the troubles erupted in January of 24 following the escape of drug lord Jose Adolfo Macias Villamar, also known as Fito. Not Frito, Fito.
A big bag of Frito-Lay?
Yeah. Anyway, he escaped from Guias Littoral prison. He's the head of the Choneros cartel, and 2 days later, the head of a related criminal gang, Los Lobos, also escaped from a different prison. And when the president, Daniel Noboa, declared a state of emergency, he imposed a curfew, nationwide curfew, all sorts of suspensions of rights and everything to hunt these guys down. Why? Well, because they had been terrorizing the country prior to their incarceration, and even while incarcerated, had been running their gangs from within the prison. Yeah, assassinating candidates for presidency, assassinating judges, assassinating, you know, high-level police and military officials, etc. So anyway, the government announced this huge crackdown and basically said they're going to deploy the military as a extension of the security services. Any further riots in prisons would be immediately and violently put down by the military with maximum casualties possible. Yeah.
1 second, Commander. You just had an audio drop. Give it a second. We're having, okay. There we go. Okay, I think you're back,
Okay.
so try it now.
Right. Washington Post said the attacks may have been triggered in part by an investigation into links between criminal gangs and various politicians and other senior government officials, which had led to the arrest of some 20 top judges and security service officials. So basically, by arresting all those people, that made it look like it was likely going to put a crimp on their ability to do business from within the prisons. So we break out of jail and we start effectively a civil war.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, the attacks up to date have included things like seizure of TV stations, forcing them to broadcast pro-gang propaganda.
Wow.
Robberies of major businesses that have any ties with ranking members of the government or security services. Kidnappings and assassinations. When they find out you're, going in for a procedure, they go in and kidnap you out of the hospital because, they know you're there because the nurse who's been bribed has been told, let us know if so-and-so comes into the hospital.
Were they trained by ICE?
Yeah, one wonders. Kidnappings from people in private vehicles. Policemen have been kidnapped and forced to read pre-prepared video recorded as statements. Bombings at and near the homes of prominent politicians, judges, military and police officers, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. At the height of all these attacks, the murder rate had risen to 24 killings a day.
Holy.
Yeah. And initially, the attacks were mainly directed at elements that had some connection with the government. But by the end of 2024, in part due to the security services crackdown, attacks were becoming increasingly random or directed at rival gangs. So it's now not just a war or civil war against the government, it's a civil war between gangs to establish supremacy of who gets to run the criminal underworld in Ecuador.
Right.
Yeah.
Holy.
Yeah.
They're not even fighting for control of it, like politically, for the underworld.
Yeah, it's all about the
that's where their
illegal
money is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So the government response to all this has been predictably harsh. The president imposed a shutdown on all public transportation in major cities, with the exception of the metro service in Quito, the capital. And even that is restricted to certain hours and on certain specific routes with heavy security guards on the subways and such. The main airport was briefly closed, reopened about a month later with extreme increase in security measures. A national referendum was held in April of 24, and voters overwhelmingly approved all the proposed additional security measures. That lets you know how bad it was, is that people basically voted to agree to suspend effectively their civil rights to put a squash on all the illegal murders, kidnappings, etc., that were going on. It had gotten so completely out of hand.
Wow.
Most other South American and Central American governments have expressed support for the Ecuadorian government. Argentina even went as far as to provide armed assistance. So there are military contingents from Argentina that are operating in Ecuador, fighting against the criminal organizations. Not surprising when you consider that these criminal organizations are rampant across the entire subcontinent.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I can't even, I know you're not even done yet, and I'm already just, I can't imagine, I can't even imagine living in this.
Yeah. Many non-South American states have issued warnings for their citizens not to travel to Ecuador, Some have even gone so far as to close their embassies and evacuate all their official personnel from the country. Technically, they didn't cut diplomatic ties. They just said, yeah, for the time being, we don't think it's safe to have our ambassador and his staff in your country. If you need to talk to us, talk to your ambassador in our country.
Yeah.
Noteworthy among these, by the way, was China.
Huh.
China withdrew its diplomatic mission.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's a big step.
Too much of China. Holy cow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And of course, the U.S. has designated Los Choneros and Los Lobos as international terror groups. I mean, that kind of goes without saying. We designate anybody that, we don't like the fabric you have on your windbreaker there, so you're now a terror group or whatever. But
They sound like Trump's kind of people.
yeah, one would think.
Yeah.
So anyway, here's the interesting codicil to this whole thing. In June of this year, Villamar Fito was captured by the Ecuadorian police forces, and in July of 25, he agreed to extradition to the United States to stand trial for drug and arms smuggling. He was arraigned in July and pled not guilty to 7 counts. He was back in court in September, and they asked for an extension, which was granted. And so supposedly he's going to be back in court, presumably to schedule the actual trial sometime in December. But not surprisingly, nobody knows exactly where he's being held, because last thing you want is to have his gang stage a commando raid on some prison to get Bubba out. And I think this is interesting because when Trump talks gangs, and most Americans think about the drug smuggling gangs, we think of Mexico, we think of Colombia, maybe Venezuela, but that's about it. We don't understand that that whole thing extends the entire length from our southern border down to the tip of Tierra del Fuego.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's not just about bringing it across land and stuff, ports and everything. And so, oh my gosh, man, how do you think it gets up to us?
Yeah, exactly. And, these are enormously lucrative enterprises because the estimates are in some cases that these cartels, their annual take exceeds that of many nations.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, Commander, look at Canada as an example here. Since legalization of casual drugs like marijuana and whatnot has happened, the hard drugs are now up in price some because the people selling aren't getting enough because they're missing the soft drugs. So everything went up a little bit, right? I know, like in my area here, it's lower income side of town. I know a few people that partake in things and stuff. And yeah, since it's all right, there's like just cocaine alone. Somebody who's a casual user can easily spend $150 to $200 on one evening. Right? And you know how many in this day and age casual users there are of drugs like that? We're talking about unbelievable amounts of money, man. Oh, you just had a dropout, Commander. 1 second here. It'll come back in just a second, I'm sure. I'm waiting for it here. Sorry, everybody. 1 second. We've got him. Okay.
Okay. I was going to say, as you know, I worked in counter narcotics enforcement indirectly. providing or coordinating military support to law enforcement agencies in that area. One of the things that we studied was the impact of interdiction on street price of drugs, because interdiction was honestly the only approach that the U.S. had to dealing with the drug problem. You know, we're going to stop it from coming into the country, declare a war on drugs,
Yeah.
et cetera, et cetera. And in the 3 years that I worked for the agency, every year we'd get another year of record seizures. You know, we'd seize a boat that was carrying 23 tons of cocaine.
Yeah.
And then the next year we'd get one that was 27 tons of cocaine.
Yeah.
And that's just one boat. That's not counting all the other smaller ones that we got. Those are the big ones.
Yeah.
Do you know how many sailors it takes to use up all that cocaine?
About 200, give or take, a week.
Yeah.
But just kidding. I'm just kidding.
The stunning thing that made us realize what an insanely stupid approach it has is that even with all those record seizures, the street price of those drugs varied not 1 penny.
Exactly. There's so much getting through. It didn't even affect supply.
Well, yeah, I mean, the cartels, that's the cost of doing business.
Exactly. It gets to the point, Commander, where I'm sure that you'll agree with this, but some things are set up so that they can be caught, so that everything else can get through, because there's only so many resources. And if you got one being caught, you're going to get 8 through.
We know that was true, at least in one case with, I think it was Colombia, where they had actually told the Colombian police when and where to go seize the drugs.
Wow.
And it was because the police needed to have a seizure to show they were doing their job to justify their budget for the next year. So it was very much a symbiotic relationship at that level.
Yeah.
You know,
It's
okay,
like,
yeah, we'll let you do this so it makes you look good and you can get, you know, a couple more helicopters from the Americans.
yeah. You know, and plus it probably gets rid of a few people that they were done with anyway. I'm sure it's very, you know, positive experience for the most part, to be honest, right? You know, but that's how bad it is. People don't get it.
Yeah, and well, the thing is that everybody who was actually in the business of counter narcotics kept trying to tell people who were decision makers and decided policy, stop wasting all this money on interdiction. It does nothing. You need to spend the money on treatment. You need to spend the money on psychiatric counseling to get people off.
Yeah, you got to remove the market. Otherwise, it's coming.
Oh,
yeah, but they didn't want to do that because it makes for great.
yeah. I'm gonna get on my moral high horse here because there's a lot of drug abuse in America, and a lot of people addicted, but you also have
here too
vast swathes of rich kids who just take it as, it's just a bit of fun. Yeah, I'll have a bit of coke. Yeah, I'll have a little bit of a pie, take a little bit of coke, while they're being complicit in a much bigger crime. They're complicit to murder and all kinds of things that happen down the line in the drug cartels.
But it's even weirder. I remember going to student orientation at the university my son went to. And one of the things that they had the head of the campus police talking about is, just so you know, we're not allowed to call you and tell you your child was arrested for possession. But if you see a traffic ticket being paid off on their credit card for this amount, know that that's actually the amount that's the fine for being caught with. So, university, relatively, I won't say upper class, but, respectable middle class parents, and their kids are getting off with, yeah, okay, you pay a little traffic ticket fine and you're done. And yet it's also part of racial profiling and racism in the country, because that same opportunity to simply pay that little, $125 or $200, whatever it is, fine, is not afforded to some inner city kid who's caught with the same amount of drugs. He goes straight to
you
prison.
get this other game. It used to happen a lot back in the illegal marijuana days, especially with like hash, because people that sold hash would break it up into little gram pieces. So if you went to your dealer and said, well, I want to buy 3 grams, he would give you 3 of those pieces. Now, you'd stick them together, put them in your cigarette pack or whatever, and if you got caught with them after, because there were 3 individual pieces stuck together, they would give you a possession charge and an intent to traffic charge every fucking time. And it was bullshit. What they did this on purpose, because you would cop to the possession charge and take the guilty plea, and they would erase the intent to traffic charge. It was a game. Right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Got to justify next year's budget.
Where are we here? We got 10 minutes here. Dunk, do you want to enlighten us with a tale? You're muted, Dunk. Oh, is he gone?
Oopsie. Yeah, I got a little tickler for the commander here about the Coast Guard. Yes, because the Coast Guard. They had a kind of a thing about just the display of hate symbols like swastikas and nooses, which they kind of like put in. They had plans to describe them as potentially divisive. Which kind of created an outcry from lawmakers and advocates all over the place. Decisive hate symbols and flags are prohibited. They've now changed their tone. They released late on Thursday saying they declared that before adding that, the category included a noose, a swastika, and any symbols or flags that co-opted or adopted by hate-based groups. So in the meantime, they were saying, they're potentially divisive.
Put this in perspective. I'm aware of the situation. Coast Guard and the other armed services always had regulations in place that those symbols and using them in that way was against the code, and you'd get prosecuted or taken to captain's mast or what have you for it. The change was trying to be
oh fuck. Oh, we just lost you, Commander. One sec. Commander, you and I will have to have a get together for like 20 minutes coming up where we can see if we can't come up with a setting that fixes this,
We were great yesterday.
I know, but that little adjustment thing I was doing isn't working. I'm going to have to put it into your link hard coded. But anyway, okay, you're back. Keep going.
No, I was just going to say the change was implemented by a Trump appointee. Because, obviously, swastikas and SS runes and such, those aren't racially divisive if, you're a good American citizen. Yeah. And so there was a lot of pushback when that came out that they were changing the regulation to allow it. And I think they've since gone back and tried to walk that back to say that, you can't do it unless you hide it and nobody sees it or something.
Yeah.
Typical wishy-washy waffling that you get from the authoritarian white. white power.
Well, you did have that thing a few weeks back, where, where some like swastikas were appearing in on people's offices, embedded into the American flag and stuff like that. But it does it does kind of remind me of that sketch. Oh, we got skulls on our uniforms. Does that make us the baddies?
Are we the baddies? Sometimes, to be perfectly fair here, sometimes it's inadvertent. There is, and I didn't arrange with you, Dick, to have this set up, but people can do this if you go on to Google Earth and go into Coronado, California, and look at the Navy amphibious base, the top-down satellite view of that base, and look at the barracks buildings where the Seabees are.
Yes.
It looks like a pair of swastikas.
Well, there's even scout groups in America still using.
And nobody noticed this for, like 20, 30 years after those were built, until somebody looked in Google Earth and said, hey, does that look like what I think it looks like? And everybody went, you're right.
I must admit, I did have a fantastic photo of when our cat had some kittens, and there were like 4 kittens eating round a plate, and they literally made the shape of a swastika. and I mean, how wrong can it be? The kittens. How evil can that possibly be?
White power people have infiltrated.
That's funny.
Feline realm now.
Yeah, so maybe if Hitler, instead of making the swastika, against the red flag, if he just like nailed some kittens up onto the flag, it wouldn't be taken to heart.
Nail them up. Oh no.
Well, it's kind of funny though, because the swastika is still used by a lot of groups, and I think it's some scout groups in America that still have it in part of their emblems, and but it's not for the reasons that we know it's evil for.
It's polluted in Western culture, let's say.
It's all over the place. Just don't put it on an armband. And start goose stepping around.
No. So here, we don't have too much longer. I want to throw in this one because I think it's really funny. So there's this magician. His name is Z Teng Wang, I think, something like that. And he put an RFID chip into his hand so he could do magic tricks with people's cell phones and stuff. Now, he didn't think about the fact that not everybody turns on the RFID thing, and, putting his hand on somebody's jacket to find their phone is a bit creepy and a few things like that. But even dumber, even more moronic, even truly stupid, how good could this magician be? Because what did he do? He forgot the passcode to the damn RFID chip. So now he's got tech implanted in his palm that he can't even log into and use.
He should have had the passcode tattooed on his other hand.
Oh, too funny. So yeah, and then there's one other thing I wanted to bring up here as well. Meta is testing a new product that will give Facebook users a personalized daily briefing powered by the company's generative AI technology. And it's basically just to compete with ChatGPT that's doing the same kind of thing called Pulse and whatnot. So the AI wars are heating up more, but if you look in the back of the AI thing, people are talking about a bubble. Now, if you look into it just a little bit more, you'll see why they're saying this. It turns out there's this big pool of money, and what's going on is it's being transferred from company to company with these different investments, and there's all of this structure being built in the background, and people are wondering how it's going to monetize. Well, That's coming as well, because OpenAI has announced and Google's Gemini has announced as well that sponsored ad placements are going to start coming to your AI results, making it as shitty as Google is right now with that crap you have to scroll through to get to real results.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. This is ChatGPT. Thank you for asking the various ways you can kill yourself. Have you thought about using this product?
Yeah, exactly. And then just before we go, I got one more here, because it turns out that when you're talking about PC builders like HP and Dell, if you thought they couldn't get any worse, you're not paying attention. Because what they've done is, if you're anybody who plays video, like digital video off your system, you'll know that there's a newer codec that produces a much smaller file with beautiful visuals called HEVC. It's a part of the whole H.265 upgrade we've gotten in the recent times. What have Dell and HP both done? They've disabled the hardware decoding of the Intel or AMD chips that happen to be in those computers, so that you don't get hardware encoding and decoding of HEVC, and your CPU has to work like a prick and destroy your battery life and all that stuff to use it. It's all over the internet. It's rampant right now because smaller file sizes, smaller downloads, blah, blah, blah. And you know why they're...
Let me interrupt you. Can I guess? Because there's going to be a subscription service to unlock it.
No, it's actually not that bad, but I wouldn't doubt that's coming. But they've disabled it because they don't want confusion in the marketplace, because that's a feature for their more expensive products.
Oh, okay.
Even though it's already in the product you're buying, they're disabling it because they don't feel you paid enough.
Jesus. But seatbelts come as standard.
Exactly. Unbelievable. So let's see here. We're at 56 minutes in. We got a couple of minutes for our outro. I forgot to shorten it. I will shorten it, but we're doing an after show. We're going to hang out a bit more, talk about a few more things and stuff. We'll get the link in the description, or the link is probably in the description. I don't even know. We got a redirect set, and we'll get it in the live chat for you, and I'll put it in the description right now as Dunk starts us with our goodbyes. Join us at the after show moment.
Well, we've got 2 shout outs to do, so let me just scroll back. Yes. We got 5 gifted memberships out from Niles
Knudsen. That's it. Yeah.
Thank you for that. We also have Truth Nerds, obligatory Doctor Strangelove reference. Mein Führer, I can walk.
Awesome.
And until then, it's the after show. Get over to the after show, where the after show is going to be, on the after show, on the Shills, the after show.
Yes,
Shills
I just got the link added to the description. So give us 3.5-4 minutes, and we'll get that after show fired up right away.
Get over there. Get over there, because I got some questions for Commander and a few suggestions.
Oh, Commander, what do you think? After show time?
I will try to.
All right.
I'll have to take a brief break, but I'll be right back.
All good.
Yeah, you can take a shit.
Let's hit it. We'll see you on the after show, everybody.
Bye.